Mike, when you look at their defense, how similar is it to the one you faced in camp? I know that DC was with Wink. I don't know how much of a spin he's put on it, so just curious on that.
Yeah, there's definitely some similarities in the scheme and how they line up, for sure.
As intense with the exotic blitzes?
Yeah, on tape, there's some. Maybe in the stats, there's probably not as many as what Wink's doing, but we know that's in their DNA, so we got to be prepared for that.
Why have they been so good at turning the ball over? I think they got 11 takeaways.
They got really good players in the back end, really good players in the front seven as well. They generate pressure, they create pressure up front, and then they have they have ball hawks in the back end that do a good job of tackling the football, stripping and punching at the ball. So those are points of emphasis for us this week.
Mike, you worked in Kansas City with one of the top tight ends in the league. You have Bellinger here now. He's not at that level yet, but what do you see from him, and how can you use him and continue to use him in different ways, like you did on Sunday?
I think Belly's doing a great job with his role. Every single day he comes to work, he gets better. And I think you're seeing that week in and week out. As his role continues to expand and continue to do different things within the offense, just like we ask everyone to do. But he's done a great job with that, and Coach Bischoff has done a great job with him, meeting with him early and making sure he's detailed, and Daniel's putting in all the work. So I'm really happy for him.
Is that sort of inherently a fun position to tinker with and be creative with?
Yeah, I mean, you use your players to their strengths and try and use them to the best of their ability. And Daniel's done a great job with all the positions we put him at, in line, spread out, in the backfield, kind of, the play you saw there last week. So, he's got flexibility, and he's an athletic kid, and he's smart, and he's dependable, and he's a guy that we trust in those situations.
Mike, you guys, you mentioned they have good players in the back end, but they also, stats-wise, have given up the most passing yards in the NFL, a lot of big plays. Can you guys capitalize on that, or is that just not your strength? I mean, your receivers aren't big downfield receivers right now. So I'm wondering, can you capitalize that, or do you have to be you?
I was with Marcus Peters in Kansas City, and I know how talented he is, and obviously being there, playing against Baltimore and Wink and those guys, and there's a lot of familiar faces. So I know maybe the stats don't show it or whatever, but we got to be prepared for a physical game, and a game that these guys really come to play every single week, and we got to put our best foot forward as far as being fundamentally sound and doing the things we want to do on offense. But it's a big time challenge at all levels, all three levels really of the defense.
I don't know how many teams have a practice squad call up, lead them in receiver snaps like you did with Marquise Johnson. What did he show you that he got the call up, and then through the course of the game that you kept going back to him?
Coach Crow's done a good job with him of working him into the offense and getting him kind of caught up with where we're at. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot of time in the spring in training camp, and so he had to catch up pretty quick, and he's done a great job each week. He's just continued to kind of absorb a little bit more of the offense, and felt like he was in a good spot to come up, and he did a great job. He did a really good job. I'm proud of him. So he did a nice job for us, and it continues to have, every day we'll continue to evaluate that room and really everyone on offense to declare what that role is going to be. And if everyone continues to have good weeks of practice, we'll be able to piece together a game plan and find a role for him.
Mike, did you wait until the second half intentionally to run Daniel, like to make the Packers think that he couldn't do it?
That wasn't I wouldn't say like intentional. It was part of the game plan. I think there was just a timing of when the play call, when we used it, I think showed up there. I thought, after those first couple drives, I thought the guys settled in. I thought as an offense we settled in and, put together a few good drives there before getting to the second half.
Mike, in the red zone, you guys obviously have been very creative throughout the season. Do you feel like now you're in a position where you've given the defense now when they try to look at you on tape, that you're coming at them in so many different directions that it's made your job a little bit more, I don't want to say easier, but gives you a good plan to kind of give you options as to what you want to do down there versus where you were in week one and how teams would attack you?
Yeah, I think, when we evaluate the red zone, you look at, because obviously the closer you get down to the goal line, the more condensed everything becomes. So you got to find a way to, displace a defender or create an extra gap or, just do certain things that can give the offense an advantage because the defense gets a little bit more, the space condenses on the offense a little bit. So you can't really go as vertical as you want to, so you kind of got to think in different ways. And so I think our staff has done a good job of putting together plans like that. That's, creative and, use our strengths of our players, whether it's, on the perimeter or in the core. So, I really credit those guys for, and the staff and the players for executing, and then the staff for putting it together.
How do you feel Daniel's played so far with the ball security and the decision making?
Yeah, Daniel's done a good job with the ball. He's doing all the right things that we're asking him to do, putting his eyes in the right spot. I think he's making quick decisions. And I know Coach Tierney is really he's really doing a great job with him since really the spring, of emphasizing that with not just Daniel but all the quarterbacks. And I think those guys have bought into it. And he's doing a really good job of managing that aspect of it.
Like you're used to. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Can you take us through the last offensive possession and kind of the clock management aspect of that and kind of what was going through your head?
Yeah, the very last one where it backed up.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have a couple guys on staff, Cade and Ty, that help us out with the clock management along with Dave's, and from that standpoint, I kind of let those guys direct me on how we want to go. Whether it's taking the knees, taking the safety. So that was a well thought out process between those guys. I don't want to speak for them or for Dave's, but that was the plan, and the guys went out there and executed it.
Hey Mike, if you were playing for Kansas City this weekend, would you stand up here and tell us it's just another game for you?
I mean, we're not playing Kansas City this weekend, so I don't have to answer that. I mean, I don't have to go there with that. I think the opponent we have is the Baltimore Ravens, and that's a challenge that we have to get ready for and make sure our guys are prepared for that.
Like you got so accustomed, playing, coaching, to seeing the game on the field. Like, how do you like the bird's eye view as a play caller of an NFL game?
Yeah, it's certainly been an adjustment, but I had some experience when I was in Kansas City being up in the booth in my role there. So, it wasn't completely foreign, but it's definitely a lot quieter. It's a little bit easier to see the field, and you kind of get a little different perspective. So I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Mike, how much are you itching to get to the Wan'Dale Robinson pages in the playbook?
Say that again, sorry.
How much are you itching to get to the Wan'Dale Robinson pages in the playbook?
Yeah, Wan'Dale's doing everything he can to get healthy and get ready to go. Our training staff's, he's working his butt off in the training room to get him ready. And whenever he's ready, we'll integrate him in and find a role for him. And when that time is present, we'll do that.